Welcome back to Z Coins. Today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of rare Washington quarters. Yes, those everyday coins you might still find in change, pocketbooks, or old family jars could be worth thousands, even millions of dollars if you know what to look for. In this video, we reveal the top 7 most valuable Washington quarter-dollar coins that could turn your small change into a big payday. These coins are highly sought after in the numismatic community, and some have recently fetched astronomical sums at auction. So don't blink, because that next coin you hold might be hiding a secret fortune. Let's begin. We're focusing on one of the most iconic and talked about coins in American numismatic history, the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter dollar. If you've ever come across a quarter with two dates, 1776 and 1976, you've held a piece of America's bicentennial celebration in your hand. But here's the big question. Are these quarters worth anything? Can they fetch big money today? Or are they just interesting relics from the past? Let's break it all down. The 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter was part of a special commemorative series celebrating 200 years of American independence. These coins were minted during the years 1975 and 1976. Interestingly, there were no quarters dated 1975. Every quarter produced during those 2 years carried the dual date 1776-1976. These quarters replaced the familiar eagle reverse design with a special colonial drummer boy, designed by Jack L. H.R. The image shows a Revolutionary War-style drummer, symbolizing the fighting spirit of the colonies. There's also a torch surrounded by 13 stars, representing the original 13 colonies. Now, let's talk about composition. Most of these bicentennial quarters are made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, just like regular quarters. But there were also special versions struck in 40% silver. These were only available in collector sets sold by the U.S. Mint. So how many of these coins were made? Over 1.6 billion clad quarters were produced for general circulation. That includes about 860 million from the Philadelphia Mint and another 520 million from the Denver Mint. San Francisco also struck around 11 million clad proof versions for collectors. Then there's the 40% silver versions. These were only made at the San Francisco Mint and include both uncirculated and proof coins. Only about 11 million silver-clad coins were made. So right away, we know the silver versions are far more rare and collectible. So how much are these coins worth today? Let's start with the regular copper-nickel-clad quarters. If you find one in your change, it's usually worth face value, 25 cents. But condition matters. Uncirculated examples, that means coins that have never been used and still have their mint luster, can fetch $1 to $5. High-grade mint state versions, especially those graded MS-65 or higher, might be worth $10 to $20 or more. That's a nice return for a coin pulled from circulation. But things get interesting with errors, varieties, and those silver versions. First, the silver quarters. If you have a 1776 to 1976 quarter with an S mint mark and it feels heavier or sounds different when dropped, you might have one of the silver ones. These can be worth between $5 and $15 in average condition. Proof versions can go for $20 to $30 or more, especially if they're in pristine condition. Next, let's talk about errors. Some bicentennial quarters have minting mistakes that can dramatically increase their value. For example, off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on the wrong planchet can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. There are also known double die obverse varieties. That means the front of the coin shows signs of doubling, often seen in the lettering or the date. Collectors are willing to pay good money for verified double dies. Now let's talk about the current coin market. As of this year, 2025, interest in bicentennial quarters has seen a noticeable increase. With the rise of social media, viral videos about valuable coins, and growing interest in precious metals, these coins are getting more attention than ever. The top-grade silver-proof quarter from 1976, graded PR70 Deep Cameo by a major grading service like PCGS or NGC, can easily sell for over $100, sometimes even higher at auction. Rare mint errors have fetched prices as high as $3,000 in recent years. Collectors are always looking for the best examples, full drum lines, deep cameo contrast, and coins with no visible marks. If you're lucky enough to own a high-grade or error coin, it might be time to get it certified and appraised. So here's the bottom line. Most 1776 to 1976 quarters you find in change will be worth just face value. But condition, composition, and mint errors can dramatically affect the value. Silver quarters, high-grade uncirculated coins, and rare varieties are the ones to watch. If you're going through your coin collection or even just your spare change, keep an eye out for these bicentennial quarters. You never know when you might find one that's worth big money. And remember, coin collecting is about more than just profit. It's about holding a piece of history. Every coin tells a story, and the bicentennial quarter tells one of American pride, revolution, and celebration. We're diving deep into a very specific but fascinating coin from United States history, the 1980 D. Washington quarter. If you've ever wondered if that quarter sitting in your drawer could be worth more than just 25 cents, then you'll want to stick around. By the end of this video, you might just be checking your spare change. Let's start with some basic facts. The 1980 D. Washington quarter was minted in Denver, as indicated by the D mint mark located on the front of the coin, to the right of George Washington's ponytail. That year, the Denver Mint struck a staggering total of over 635 million quarters. That's right, more than 635 million coins were produced, which might make you think they're all common and worth only face value. But as we'll find out, that's not the whole story. Now let's go back in time for a moment. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of the first U.S. President, George Washington. The design, featuring the familiar portrait by John Flanagan, has become one of the most recognizable coins in American history. Though the reverse design has changed over the years, in 1980 it still featured the original eagle design, wings spread, clutching arrows, and standing above an olive branch. Back in 1980, these quarters were made with a copper-nickel-clad composition. That means they had an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. No silver was used in circulating coins at this time. However, errors, condition, and rare variations are what drive collectors wild. So what makes a 1980 D. Washington quarter worth more than a quarter? The first factor is condition. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with MS standing for mint state. A coin in mint state condition has never been used in circulation and shows no wear. The closer to MS 70, the higher the value. Most 1980 D quarters that were used for regular purchases and handling are worth only face value today. But if you find one that was never circulated and is in exceptional condition, its value jumps significantly. According to recent sales data, a 1980 D. Washington quarter graded MS 67 by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC can sell for over $400. Yes, you heard that right. One single quarter from your pocket change could be worth hundreds if it's in the right condition. But it gets better. Some coins have sold for even more. In rare cases where the luster is pristine, the strike is exceptionally sharp, and there are virtually no flaws under magnification, collectors are willing to pay a premium. For example, one 1980 D quarter in mint state 67 sold for over $600 at auction. That's over 2,000 times its face value. Another thing to look out for is errors. Error coins are hot in the collector market. For the 1980 D quarter, errors like off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and broad strikes can dramatically increase value. A well-known error from the Denver Mint is the struck-through grease error, where grease or debris obscures part of the design. Though not all of these are worth a fortune, certain dramatic examples can go for $100 or more, especially if certified by a third-party grader. Now let's talk about circulated value versus collector value. A circulated 1980 D. Washington quarter with light to moderate wear is still generally worth just 25 cents. However, there is a thriving market for raw uncirculated coins, and rolls of 1980 D quarters can sell for a premium. Some dealers and collectors sell original bank-wrapped rolls of these quarters for $20 to $30 or more, especially if they appear untouched and bright. So what should you be looking for? Number 1. Sharp, bold details with no wear. Look closely at Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. If they are crisp and sharp, you may have something special. Number 2. Luster. Uncirculated coins reflect light in a radial, cartwheel-like pattern. This indicates the coin has not been worn down by use. Number 3. No major scratches or contact marks. A coin can be uncirculated but still unattractive due to heavy bag marks from other coins during transport. Number 4. Possible errors. Get a magnifier or loupe and inspect for anything odd or unusual. If you think you have an error coin, it's always best to get it checked out by an expert or sent in for professional grading. Number 5. Certified examples. If you're serious about collecting or selling valuable coins, it's worth submitting your best finds to PCGS or NGC for grading and encapsulation. This gives buyers confidence and can help maximize your sale price. Let's also mention bullion. Although the 1980 D quarter does not contain silver, some people confuse it with the silver quarters of the 1960s. If your quarter doesn't have a visible copper edge when viewed from the side, it might be worth checking. However, true silver quarters were last made for circulation in 1964. From 1965 onward, circulating quarters were clad, like the one from 1980. Where does this leave us today? As of 2025, the average circulated 1980 D quarter is still worth 25 cents. But a top-quality mint state coin can be worth hundreds. Even lower mint states like MS-64 or MS-65 can bring in $10 to $50, depending on the market. Error coins can also be quite valuable, and demand for unique or eye-catching examples continues to grow. If you're looking to buy one, eBay, heritage auctions, and trusted coin dealers are your best bets. If you're looking to sell one, get it graded if it's truly pristine or unusual. And if you're just searching through change, don't give up. The thrill of the hunt is what keeps the coin collecting hobby alive. We're diving into the fascinating world of the 1981 D Washington quarter dollar. Don't overlook this common-looking coin. It may seem ordinary at first glance, but certain features, mint errors, and coin conditions could turn this pocket change into a jackpot. Stick with us to the end, because we'll uncover what makes some of these quarters worth serious money in today's market. Let's start with a bit of history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932, originally to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. But what was meant to be a one-year coin quickly turned into a permanent series due to its popularity. The design featured a profile of George Washington on the obverse, created by sculptor John Flanagan. This basic design would last for decades, including on the 1981 D issue. Now, zooming into the year 1981, America was in a period of economic change. Inflation was rising, interest rates were high, and precious metals were becoming more valuable. The U.S. Mint had already stopped using silver in quarters after 1964, switching instead to a copper-nickel-clad composition. So if you're holding a 1981 quarter, it's most likely made of that standard clad material unless it's an ultra-rare error coin. The 1981 D quarter was minted in Denver. That's what the D Mint mark stands for. The Denver Mint produced approximately 575 million Washington quarters that year. Yes, you heard that right, over 500 million. So, on the surface, 1981 D quarters are not rare. In fact, you probably have one in your pocket or coin jar right now. But here's the twist: condition, errors, and grading make all the difference. Let's talk value. In circulated condition, most 1981 D quarters are worth only face value, 25 cents. Nothing special, right? But now comes the interesting part. If your 1981 D quarter is in mint state condition, that means no scratches, perfect luster, and no signs of wear, then you're looking at more than face value. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC can sell for $5 to $15. Still modest, but much better than 25 cents. Now, let's raise the stakes. A 1981 D Washington quarter graded MS-67, that's near perfect, has sold for over $300 at auction, and the highest known graded examples have broken past $400. That's a massive jump from face value for a coin you might already own. But what really excites collectors and investors are the errors. One of the most valuable kinds of 1981 D quarters includes mint errors like off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong planchet altogether. For example, a 1981 D quarter that was struck on a 5-cent planchet instead of the correct one is a rare mint error, and such coins can sell for hundreds, even thousands, depending on condition and demand. Let me give you a real example. An error 1981 D quarter with an off-metal strike, that's when the coin is struck on the wrong metal, once sold at auction for over $1,000. And another example with a deep die cap error fetched over $2,000. These are rare, but they're out there. Even minor doubling of letters or numbers in the date or the word Liberty can make a coin significantly more valuable. Always check under magnification. Now, let's talk about how to identify value in your coin. Step 1. Check the mint mark. If it's a 1981D, keep going. Step 2. Examine the condition. Coins with scratches, wear, or discoloration won't bring much, but uncirculated or mint state coins could be worth grading. Step 3. Look for errors. Use a jeweler's loupe or microscope to examine the date, lettering, and edges. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, and anything unusual. Step 4. If you believe your coin is high quality or has an error, consider submitting it to a professional grading service. The fee might be worth it if your coin comes back with a high grade or confirmed error. Now let's bring it up to date. What is the 1981D Washington quarter worth on the current market in 2025? As of now, circulated examples remain at face value, but MS-65 to MS-66 coins are fetching between $10 to $30 depending on eye appeal. MS-67 and above are highly sought after and can reach up to $500, especially if the coin has full strike and no contact marks. Error coins are where the real money is. Depending on rarity and type, values can range from $100 to several $1,000s to so. Is your 1981D Washington quarter worth a fortune? Maybe not yet, but with millions of these coins sitting unnoticed in drawers and jars, your chance of finding a hidden gem is better than you think. Before you spend it, flip through your stash. Look close. The coin that buys your morning coffee today might just be worth a stack of cash tomorrow. We're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1998p Washington $quarter coin. This common-looking coin might just be worth a fortune, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. Let's get started with the history. The Washington quarter was first issued in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It became a permanent fixture in U.S. coinage due to its popularity and timeless design. Fast forward to 1998, and we find ourselves at the final year before one of the biggest changes in modern American coin collecting, the launch of the 50 state quarters program in 1999. So why is the 1998p Washington quarter important? Well, for starters, it marks the end of the original eagle reverse design. That majestic heraldic eagle you see on the back of the coin. This was the last year it appeared before being replaced by the rotating state-themed reverses. That alone gives it a place in numismatic history. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 896 million of these coins in 1998, which means they're not rare in circulation. But as with many coins, condition and unique features can dramatically affect their value. Now let's talk design. On the obverse, you have the classic portrait of George Washington facing left, designed by John Flanagan. The word Liberty appears above his head. The motto "In God We Trust" is off to the left, and the date 1998 is struck below his bust. The small letter P to the right of Washington's ponytail represents the Philadelphia Mint. On the reverse, we see the traditional eagle design, wings spread, arrows in its talons, olive branches below, a powerful symbol of peace and strength. But now, here's where things get interesting. Not all 1998p quarters are created equal. There are some very specific versions and errors that can fetch big bucks in today's market. So if you've got some 1998 quarters lying around, pay close attention. Let's start with high-grade business strike coins. Most circulated 1998p quarters are worth face value. But if you find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, we're talking MS-66, MS-67 or higher, you could be looking at values ranging from $10 to over $100. A 1998p Washington quarter graded MS-68 by PCGS has sold for over $1,500 at auction. That's right, $1,500 for a quarter minted less than 30 years ago. What makes it so valuable? The simple answer is quality. Coins with a flawless strike, strong luster, and absolutely no visible scratches or marks are extremely rare, even among uncirculated rolls. Grading is everything in the coin world. So if you believe you have a high-grade quarter, it may be worth sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Now let's move into the exciting world of errors and varieties. One of the most talked about types is the double die error. While there are no widely recognized major double dies for the 1998p quarter, some minor doubling on letters and numbers has been reported by collectors. These can range in value depending on how strong the doubling is and how visible it is to the naked eye. Another big one is off-center strikes. If your 1998 P quarter was struck off-center, especially if the date is still visible, that can greatly increase its value. Off-center errors can be worth anywhere from $20 to several hundred depending on how far off the strike is. Then there are clipped planchets. These occur when a coin is struck on a blank that wasn't fully punched from the metal strip. The result is a crescent-shaped missing edge. These 1998 clipped planchet errors can be worth $50 or more. One of the more dramatic errors is the broad strike. This happens when the coin is struck without the retaining collar that forms the rim, causing the coin to spread out wider than normal. A 1998 P broad strike quarter in good condition can go for $40 to $100 or more. But here's one to watch for: the experimental planchet. Rumor there has long been speculation among collectors that a very small number of 1,998 quarters might have been struck on experimental planchets, different metal compositions used in test runs for the upcoming state quarter program. If one of these were confirmed and authenticated, it could be worth thousands. So if you have a 1998 quarter that looks or feels different, maybe it's lighter, or the color looks off, that's a coin you should absolutely have tested. Now let's break down the market in 2025. As of today, most 1998 P Washington quarters in circulated condition are worth their face value. However, high-grade examples certified by grading companies are seeing steady demand, especially from collectors building registry sets. Auction sites show that coins graded MS67 and above are consistently selling for well over $100. Error coins, especially off-center strikes and major broad strikes, remain popular and often fetch solid premiums. Rare examples like potential experimental planchets or high-grade double dies can bring in even bigger money. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1998 P quarter? First, examine it closely. Use a magnifier or loupe to check for doubling on the lettering, date, or mint mark. Look for any striking errors like missing parts of the coin, extra thickness, or strange shapes. Next, check the coin's condition. Is it worn down, or does it still have sharp details and that original mint luster? If you think you have something special, compare it to known examples from auction houses like Heritage Auctions or eBay sold listings. And if you're serious about selling, consider getting it certified by a professional grading service. And here's a tip: don't overlook coin rolls or old jars of change. Many of these rare quarters are found not in coin shops but in everyday places like bank rolls, parking meters, vending machines, or your grandma's coin jar. It happens more than you think. To wrap it up, the 1998 P Washington quarter may seem ordinary, but under the surface, it's a coin with a rich backstory, collectible appeal, and surprising value if you know what to look for. Whether it's a pristine MS68 specimen or a dramatic mint error, this coin proves that history and money can literally be in the palm of your hand. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of quarter-dollar coins, specifically the mysterious and highly talked about 2006 P quarter and the legendary 1867 quarter dollar. You've probably heard rumors online about some of these coins being worth a fortune, and let me tell you, there's more than a little truth to that. Whether you're a collector, a coin hunter, or just someone who found a strange quarter in your pocket, this episode is for you. So grab your loupe, settle in, and let's discover what makes these coins so special, so valuable, and sometimes so insanely rare. Let's start with the 2006 P quarter, part of the 50-state quarters program issued by the United States Mint between 1999 and 2008. This one represents North Dakota, featuring 2 American bison grazing near a rugged bluff, a scene that captures the raw spirit of the Great Plains. Now, a regular 2006 P quarter is pretty common. Over 244 million of them were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. So why do some collectors pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars for one? It all comes down to errors and varieties. Some 2006 P North Dakota quarters have minting mistakes, and collectors go wild for these. The most valuable variety is known as the double die, or DDR, short for double die reverse. This type of error occurs when the coin is struck twice, causing the design elements on the back, like the bison, lettering, or landscape, to appear doubled under magnification. Depending on the clarity and severity of the doubling, a high-grade 2006 P DDR quarter can sell for anywhere from $50 to over $1,000. Yes, that's right. A 25-cent piece that could be worth more than your rent. There are also examples with misaligned dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks, each potentially increasing the coin's value depending on condition and rarity. And let's not forget condition. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC in mint state 67 or higher fetch significant premiums. One 2006 P North Dakota quarter graded MS68 sold for over $200 at auction. So, before you spend that quarter on your morning coffee, give it a close inspection. You might be holding a hidden gem. Now let's step into the past, into the post-Civil War era, and talk about one of the rarest and most historically significant coins in American numismatics. The 1867 seated Liberty Quarter, minted during a time of national reconstruction. This coin is part of the seated Liberty series, which ran from 1838 to 1891. Designed by Christian Gobrecht, the front shows Lady Liberty seated with a shield in one hand and a liberty cap in the other. The reverse features the classic heraldic eagle with outstretched wings. The 1867 quarter isn't just old. It's rare. Only about 48,000 business strike coins were minted in Philadelphia that year. That's tiny compared to modern mintages. And even fewer survive today in collectible condition. Now, if you're thinking about value, brace yourself. A circulated 1867 quarter in good condition can easily fetch $150 to $300. Step up to extremely fine or about uncirculated condition, and the price jumps to $800 or more. In mint state, especially those graded MS65 or higher, you could be looking at values above $5,000. And then there are the proofs. Only 625 proof coins were minted in 1867. A certified proof 65 specimen can bring in upwards of $10,000 at auction. Talk about holding a piece of history in your hands. So what's driving the market value of these coins today? For modern errors like the 2006 P, demand is fueled by YouTube videos, TikTok trends, and a growing number of casual collectors who are just getting into the hobby. As more people start checking their pocket change, prices for known varieties and rare errors are climbing steadily. For older coins like the 1867 quarter, the value lies in their historical significance, low survival rate, and the desire of serious collectors to complete rare series sets. In recent years, we've seen a steady rise in auction prices for seated Liberty quarters, especially those with low mintages or superb eye appeal. And let's not forget that coins are not just currency, they're artifacts. Their value is tied not just to metal or mintage, but to the story they tell. And both the 2006 P and 1867 quarters have incredible stories. So how can you tell if your coin is worth big money? First, check for errors. Use a magnifier to look for doubling, off-center strikes, or strange lines or marks that don't belong. Second, check the condition. A coin in pristine, uncirculated shape is always worth more. Look for coins with minimal scratches, no discoloration, and a strong strike. Third, consider professional grading. If you believe you've got something special, submitting your coin to a service like PCGS or NGC can dramatically increase its market value and credibility. Finally, stay informed. Watch the market. Follow reputable coin auction sites, forums, and marketplaces. Knowledge is your most valuable tool in the end. Coins like the 2006 P North Dakota quarter and the 1867 seated Liberty quarter remind us that hidden treasure still exists. Sometimes in your pocket, sometimes in a grandparent's drawer, sometimes in a forgotten box in your garage. So next time you get change at the store, take a moment. Look closely, because you never know, what seems like an ordinary quarter might just be worth a small fortune. We talk coins, cash, and collectibles that could be hiding right in your pocket change. Today's video is all about the 2014 $quarter coins, and why some of them are worth a lot more than just 25 cents. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who just found a shiny 2014 quarter in their junk drawer, you'll want to stick around. Because believe it or not, some of these coins have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Let's dive into the surprising history, the most valuable error coins, and what these quarters are worth in the current market. Chapter 1. Understanding the 2014 quarter series. In 2014, the United States Mint released a set of 5 quarters under the America the Beautiful Quarters program. This program began in 2010 and ran through 2021, honoring national parks and historic sites across the country. Each year, 5 new designs were released, and 2014 was no exception. Here are the 5 coins from that year. Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee, Shenandoah National Park in Virginia, Arches National Park in Utah, Great Sand Dunes National Park in Colorado, Everglades National Park in Florida. Each coin featured a unique reverse design, while the obverse kept the familiar image of George Washington. Originally created by John Flanagan in 1932, Chapter 2. Mints and mint marks. Before we dive into the rare and valuable varieties, let's cover where these coins were minted. The 2014 quarters were struck at three main facilities: Philadelphia Mint with a P mint mark, Denver Mint with a D mint mark, San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark. Now here's where it gets interesting. The S mint mark coins were not released into general circulation. These were specifically made for collectors and sold directly through the mint's programs, like proof sets and uncirculated rolls. This means any 2014 S quarter you find is inherently more valuable, especially if it's in pristine condition. Chapter 3. Valuable varieties and errors. Let's talk big money now. While most 2014 quarters are worth face value, certain errors and varieties can send their value skyrocketing. Here are some of the most sought-after types. Double die errors. Collectors pay top dollar for coins that show doubling, where the design appears to have been stamped twice, often noticeable on the lettering or the imagery. While no major double dies have been officially listed for the 2014 series, some minor ones have been found under magnification. Keep an eye on the words Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the park names on the reverse. Off-center strikes. If the image on your 2014 quarter appears shifted off its center, say by 10 or 20%, this is called an off-center strike. These can fetch anywhere from $50 to over $300 depending on severity and condition. Die cracks and cuts. These are caused by damage or defects in the die that strikes the coins. A cut appears as a raised area or blob where part of the design is missing. Die cracks often look like veins or raised lines across the coin. Even small cuts or cracks can increase value by $10 to $100. Missing clad layer. Modern quarters are made from a sandwich of copper and nickel. If one of these layers is missing, it's called a missing clad layer error. These coins appear reddish or have a coppery look and can be worth several $100s. Chapter 4. Proof and silver quarters. Don't overlook the 2014 proof and silver proof sets. These were sold directly to collectors and can be incredibly valuable when in mint condition. The 2014 silver proof quarters were struck in 90% silver and are part of the annual silver proof set. If you have the full 2014 silver set, it could be worth anywhere from $40 to $100, depending on condition and demand. Chapter 5. High auction results. Now let's get to some real-world values. Here are just a few examples of what 2014 quarters have sold for at auction. A 2014 P Arches quarter with an off-center strike sold for over $250. A 2014 Great Sand Dunes quarter with a dramatic die break brought in $180. A 2014 silver proof set in pristine, graded condition fetched over $120. Remember, these values depend heavily on condition, rarity of the error, and whether the coin has been certified by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Chapter 6. What are they worth today? Let's talk. Market trends. As of 2025, the average uncirculated 2014 P or D quarter is worth between 50 cents and $2, depending on the specific design and grade. The S mint uncirculated quarters typically sell for $1.50 to $3 each, while proof coins, especially silver proofs, go for even more. Error coins can range from $20 to several hundred, especially if certified by a third-party grader. For collectors, these coins are still affordable and readily available, making them a great entry point for anyone interested in starting a coin collection focused on the America the Beautiful series. Closing thoughts. So, the next time you get change back at the grocery store, don't overlook your quarters. That plain-looking 2014 coin could be worth much more than you think. Whether it's a rare error, a silver proof, or part of a collector's set, 2014 quarters are definitely coins to keep an eye on. If you're into coins, collectibles, or just curious about the change in your pocket, you're going to want to stick around for this one. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most exciting modern quarter-dollar coins, the 2020 P quarter. You heard that right. A coin you may have spent without a second thought could actually be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars if you know what to look for. So let's dig into the value, history, and special varieties of the 2020 P quarters that have collectors buzzing. Let's rewind for a second and talk about what the 2020 quarters even are. In 2020, The United States Mint released several America the Beautiful quarter designs as part of a long-running series that started in 2010. These coins honored national parks and historic sites across the U.S. But what makes the 2020 quarters extra special is not just the designs. It's what happened that year and what was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. First off, 2020 was the final full year of the America the Beautiful series. It included 5 different quarter designs released in the following order: the National Park of American Samoa, Ware Farm National Historic Site in Connecticut, Salt River Bay National Historical Park in the Virgin Islands, Marsh-Billings Rockefeller National Historical Park in Vermont, and finally, Tallgrass Prairie National Preserve in Kansas. Each of these had a version minted in Philadelphia with a P mint mark. Now here's where it gets interesting. Some of these coins, particularly the ones from the Philadelphia Mint, are showing up with errors, die varieties, and extremely low population grades that can fetch major money. Let's talk about one of the most famous, the 2020p American Samoa Bat Quarter. This design features a Samoan fruit bat mother and her pup hanging upside down. It's already a striking and unique design, but collectors quickly found several error varieties. One of the most desirable is the drooling bat variety. That's right, it's called the drooling bat error because of a small die chip that looks like saliva coming from the bat's mouth. Coins with that error in high-grade condition, we're talking mint state 65 and above, can sell for anywhere from $50 to $200, depending on the quality. But that's not the only 2020p quarter with value. The Salt River Bay quarter has a known doubling error called a double die obverse, where you can see extra thickness in the letters of the motto or the date. That variety, if verified and graded high, can go for hundreds of dollars. In fact, one high-grade example of this double die recently sold at auction for over $500. Let's not forget about condition rarity. A regular 2020p quarter pulled from circulation may be worth 25 cents. But if you find one in pristine condition, what the pros call mint state 67 or better, that's where things start to get expensive. PCGS and NGC, the 2 major coin grading companies, have recorded only a few thousand of these quarters in MS67 and even fewer in MS68. That rarity in high-grade drives the value way up. Some of these top pop coins are worth $800 or more depending on the design and current demand. Another quarter worth mentioning is the Marsh-Billings Rockefeller quarter. Although not as famous as the Bat quarter, it has had reports of die cracks, die chips, and off-center strikes, all of which are worth money depending on how dramatic the error is. Collectors love dramatic errors because they're rare and visually striking. So what should you be looking for? Number 1, check the mint mark. We're talking about coins minted in Philadelphia. They'll have a small letter P on the obverse. Then inspect both sides of the coin closely. Use a jeweler's loupe or a coin microscope if you have one. Look for doubling on the letters and numbers, die chips on the bats or leaves, or anything that looks unusual or out of place. Now let's talk about the current market as of 2025. Coin collecting has been surging in popularity, especially among younger generations. That demand is pushing prices higher for high-grade and error coins. For example, a 2020p Bat quarter-graded MS68 by PCGS sold earlier this year for $995. A Tallgrass Prairie quarter with a struck-through error recently fetched nearly $400 at auction. Even raw error coins, that means ungraded coins found in circulation, are routinely selling on eBay for $20 to $100 depending on the error. If you think that's impressive, keep in mind that most of these coins are still sitting in bankrolls, coin jars, and pocket change. That means there are still valuable 2020p quarters out there waiting to be discovered. So what should you do right now? First, check your change. Search every quarter from 2020 with a P mint mark. Then, if you find one that looks perfect or has an error, consider sending it to a grading company. Yes, grading does cost money, usually around $30 to $50, but if your coin grades high or has a rare error, it can be well worth the investment. Also consider buying rolls of 2020 quarters from your bank if you can still find them. Some collectors are even having luck buying sealed boxes of quarter rolls online and searching through them. It's a bit of a treasure hunt, but for those who enjoy the thrill, the reward can be huge. To wrap it up, the 2020p quarter dollar coins are more than just loose change. They are a snapshot of a unique moment in American history, marked by distinctive designs and rare varieties. Whether it's the Bat quarters with striking die chips, double dies on the Salt River Bay, or high-grade examples of tallgrass prairie. These coins have become must-haves for collectors. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new or you're heading off to search your coin jar right now, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into coins worth big money. Leave a comment below if you've ever found a rare 2020p quarter. I'd love to hear your story. Until next time, happy hunting and keep checking that pocket change.